Hello, Tri-City Sports Now. Hello? Hello?
Harbor House uses the freshest high-quality ingredients. For the best seafood, go to the Harbor House, located on 2510 North Rome Street in Johnson City. And the hours are Sunday through Thursday, 11 to 8, Friday and Saturday, 11 to 9.
That one, last interview with Howie Schwab was unexpected. He just called right in. Hey, you want to do this now? Yeah, sure. This is the time you got. By the way, he also does a lot of fact-checking for Dick Vitale. Vitale will be behind the mic for tomorrow's UT Kentucky game. Got to check that out now, don't you? All right. I remember back first incarnation of the show, and Dick Vitale used to do we used to have a PSA for the Shriners that he would do. It was very. There was also another one with John Unitas and Raymond Barry, so that tells you a little bit how it goes back here. Couple of odd notes I want to get to. No more smoky gray uniforms for the Vols in football next year. I love that. That's a gimmick. Jeremy Pruitt, I think that's a good idea. There's, I know Phil Mushnick, who's my favorite sports columnist, once said, Duke's colors are blue and white. Where do they get black? Well, who are they trying to cater to when they do the black? There was the day, I remember, Lane Kiffin, 2009, Halloween, and the Vols had orange and black. It's Halloween. Okay, I did beat South Carolina by 18, if memory serves. Other than that, though, I mean, the smoky gray, their color isn't gray, folks. I think it's positive. I mean, why not put green out there? We'll play in a Christmas Day bowl game. Let's have green uniform. Please. Yeah. All right. So no more smoky gray uniform. Also, now here's something to ponder. Florida, up at Ben Hill Griffith Stadium, are taking down their signs that designate SEC East championships. Something Jim McElwain put up because he won SEC East championships. But Florida says, you know what? Won a national title in 96. Won them in, what was it, 2007? Was it 2006 or 2008? I got to remember here. 2000. A couple in the previous decade. We got 3 national championships around here. We don't really need to be celebrating the SEC East titles here. You know what else I believe in who else has done that, and I think it's a positive, is ETSU. There was once a banner that ETSU had up in the mini dome that designated when they were ranked number 10 in the country in 1991. And to me, that was like saying, you know what? They're celebrating the fact that at the peak of this program, there were still 9 teams better than they were in a given week. Is that really something you want to celebrate? Kentucky doesn't have up a banner saying, we were ranked in the top 10. Now, ETSU has their NCAA berths and their NIT berths up, and that's the way it should be, if you ask me. All right. Wanted to point this out here. Want to thank Howie Schwab for calling in. Want to talk to a really great conversation with Steve Forbes, and for that matter, Julian Lane as well. Newcomer to ETSU coming in. For playing defensive back for the Bucs. Billy Taylor recruited him. Final minutes, I want to talk, obviously, Super Bowl. Philadelphia Eagles, their first Super Bowl, their first NFL championship in 58 years when they were playing in Franklin Field. As I said earlier, Chuck Bednarik ticking out the clock, laying on Boyd Dowler in the last, in the only playoff game that really counted that Vince Lombardi ever lost. That's how far back. It was Norm Van Brocklin's last game. Norm Van Brocklin died in 1983. I talk more about Norm Van Brocklin than anybody because the owner of the station calls me Dutch. Okay, so that's how that. I also believe in pocket passers. That's another reason why smoking on the sideline, maybe not. Okay. But I don't even like pecans that much. All right, let's go on there. How we saw with the Eagles. By the way, the Eagles, I heard a little bit of an update. Nick Foles. There's not going to be, in my opinion, any excuse next year for your team to not have a quarterback that I would say is capable of winning, of going and taking you to a high level. Now, some might say Blake Bortles was that quarterback, and I don't know. You know, you can argue whether or not Blake Bortles is that quarterback or not. We'll get to this here in a second. But you got to consider here, excuse me, not only 5 teams could be drafting quarterbacks in the first round this year, but Kirk Cousins seems to be out there. What about the Minnesota Vikings, who not only have Chase Keenum, but Sam Bradford and Teddy Bridgewater, if they decide to re-sign? I think Bridgewater is going to be a free agent. What about a team, like the Eagles now, who not only have Carson Wentz, and that's who they're going to go with, but wouldn't you be interested in Nick Foles now? After he throws for 300-odd yards and 3 touchdowns, and even catches a pass. After the game he had in the Super Bowl, kind of like Jeff Hostetler with the Giants then going to the Raiders. Couldn't you see that? The quarterbacks are out there, folks. And I mean, we can debate who is better. We can, argue, is Tom Brady still the top dog in the league? Or is it Drew Brees or whoever? Is it Ben Roethlisberger? Whoever, Will Marcus Mariota, get to that level? Now, if your quarterback goes down, okay. But otherwise, no, I don't foresee. There's no excuse next year. The quarterbacks are out there, in my opinion, to have a good quarterback. How other teams, other than the Patriots or the Eagles, could go to the Super Bowl next year? We've got a few notes. Greg Rosenthal, NFL.com, wrote a story saying the needs of all 32 teams. Okay, let's go right to the point. I want to get to the glamour teams first of all. Dallas Cowboys. This was a big statement. It was cut Dez Bryant. Cost $16.5 million against the cap. Hasn't had a 1,000-yard season in 3 years. Problem with the Cowboys, he says, they overrate their talent. Think of Tony Romo. Think of Dez Bryant. Think maybe even of Zeke Elliott. No, you can't suspend him. No, you can't suspend. You have Alfred Morris in reserve. McFadden, for that matter. Yes, you can. And that whole soap opera, how much did that deal with the Cowboys not making the playoffs this year? How about the Pittsburgh Steelers? Greg Rosenthal says they need a new outside pass rusher. Really? The Steelers led the NFL in sacks. I think the Steelers had the best talent in the league last year. They just weren't well coached by Mike Tomlin. By the way, Terry Bradshaw actually said, why did they get rid of Todd Haley, offensive coordinator, now going to the Browns? I mean, after all, the Steelers put up 42 points. Well, 42 points against the Jaguars. They had no problem scoring. The idea is that Haley is sort of the tough coach. He'll, cut you down, that sort of thing. Ben Roethlisberger thought he deserved better last year, the contract. That's the situation there. I'm not sure. Sometimes you get your best performance when you are a bit critical. I just thought, new outside pass rusher, they led the NFL in sacks. Really? All that tells me right now is that just tremendous disarray in terms of X's and O's strategy from Mike Tomlin and company in Pittsburgh. All right, let's look at the local teams. Right offensive mind for Marcus Mariota for the Tennessee Titans. I could have told you that. We didn't need Greg Rosenthal. How about for the Panthers? New receivers for Cam Newton. Buy that. All right. How about the Saints? Obviously, you want to get Drew Brees back, but another pass rusher. Saints had a lot of injuries this past year. They did real well, won the division. Alex Okafor was hurt. Another pass rusher, something to look for the New Orleans Saints this year. Hottest team in the league at the end was the 49ers. How can they be a playoff team, possibly even more? To get to the Super Bowl, corners. get cornerbacks. And then you don't have to ask Jimmy Garoppolo to win 40 to 35 games. But the 49ers look to be improved. Jacksonville. Rosenthal possibly, he says the Jaguars need a new quarterback. Okay, I mean, nobody's voting Bortles All-Pro, but he did go to the AFC title game. Interesting point there, something to debate. And for the Giants, and by the way, best commercial of the Super Bowl, easy, was Eli Manning and Odell Beckham. Eli outdid Peyton. Haven't seen a good Manning commercial like that since Cut That Meat. Giants draft Saquon Barkley #2. I kind of agree with that. Tri-City Sports Now. Chris Lowe tomorrow.
WBNB Irwin.